I feel like gymnastics has really given me a leg up over everybody in Performance Center in WWE, because not only the physical part of it, but the mental part of it. Gymnastics teaches you discipline. It teaches you how to overcome difficulties. It teaches you if you work hard at something, you will get rewarded.
You are facing Lyra Valkyria at NXT Battleground this Sunday for the NXT Women's Championship. So, and that's going to be streaming on Peacock. So how are you feeling heading into the match?
I feel great. I feel like I am ready. I'm one that rises to the occasion. And I'm ready to show everyone who Tiffany Stratton is.
Absolutely. And when you're facing a competitor like Lyra, like you, she earned her way to this championship match. What's the one thing you have to do in order to beat her and win your first championship in NXT and WWE?
Lyra and I have never ever locked up before. So I really have no idea what to expect. All I know is that, you know, I'm one that rises to the occasion. I perform very well under pressure. And I love to be in front of the spotlight, in front of the camera, in front of thousands of people. And I have no idea what Lyra's like in that situation. You know, she could crumble under the pressure. We have no idea. She's never been put in this situation. She's never had this big of a match. This is the biggest match of her career as well. So I guess we'll find out this Sunday.
Yeah, and you have that experience when it comes to competing in big matches. Specifically, you took part in the triple threat match at Spring Breakin in April. Does working a match like that benefit you when it comes to NXT Battleground on Sunday?
Of course it does. I feel like that triple threat match, I feel like really gave me some really good experience that I can take into all of the title matches I'm going to have. I learned a lot from, you know, competing against Indi and Roxanne, and I'm going to take everything that I learned and use it to my advantage this Sunday.
Now, you've had a great run so far. You made your NXT debut in 2021. What's the biggest thing you've learned in nearly your 2 years of competing in NXT and WWE?
That's a good question. There's so many things that I have learned in the past year and a half. I don't think there's one thing I can really pinpoint. I just think like staying true to myself ultimately, and not listen to everybody's opinions, but, you know, not take everything in and, you know, listen to it. I feel like you can listen to somebody, but you don't have to always take in, you know, exactly what they're saying. You could take it in and use it, or, you know, disregard it.
Absolutely. And that's a good lesson to learn. And when you first joined the WWE Performance Center in 2021, what was training like for you? And were you able to pick up things really quickly?
Yeah, coming into the PC, I had a little bit of not experience, but I had training by Greg Gagne. He, you know, taught me how to roll. He taught me how to bump. He taught me how to run the ropes. But I never had a match before coming to the PC. And coming to the PC, we had class every single day at like 8 a.m. in the morning. We had a gym class. We had a promo class. We had a skull class. It was just classes on top of classes. And it was very hard to get accustomed to right off the bat. But I did it.
Yeah.
And now we're here.
Absolutely. And in a previous interview, you mentioned that WWE should recruit more gymnasts. Do you think your gymnastics background helped you find success in the ring?
1000%. I feel like gymnastics has really given me a leg up over everybody in Performance Center in WWE, because not only the physical part of it, but the mental part of it. Gymnastics teaches you discipline. It teaches you how to overcome difficulties. It teaches you if you work hard at something, you will get rewarded. And I feel like that mindset has really helped me within wrestling and within life in general.
Of course. And you also have a background in CrossFit. How has that helped you in your NXT WWE career?
CrossFit is a very tough sport. That is,
Mm,
CrossFit's a different animal. I feel like CrossFit really is what kind of got me into fitness in general. I never knew really how to work out until it came to CrossFit. But I feel like CrossFit workouts are very similar to how you feel within a match. It blows you up within every single part of your body. Your legs are numb, your arms are numb, your heart rate's pumping. You feel like you can't go anymore, but you keep going. And that's like a CrossFit Metcon is exactly how you feel in the middle of a big match. So that CrossFit has helped me within, my endurance and my stamina to help with wrestling.
of course. And can you talk about making that transition from gymnastics and CrossFit to WWE? Were you always a fan of WWE growing up?
No, and I'm not afraid to admit that. I was
Yeah,
not a huge fan growing up. My dad and my brother always watched it. He loved The Big Show and he loved The Undertaker. But I would kind of watch it and kind of think it's kind of silly. I love The Rock when I would see him on, but
right.
I was never like, oh my God, I'm looking forward to Friday Night SmackDown.
Mhm.
But as I kind of got older and, I saw Charlotte Flair on my screen, I really felt like that it was something that I wanted to at least try. And I did. I found a connection and I went and I took my first bump and I felt like I was meant for it. I saw other people within this school that I went to, Ken Anderson's.
Mhm.
I saw other people wrestle and I was like, whoa, this is like everything that I'm good at. The athleticism, the talking, the look, the charisma. I felt like it all kind of meshed everything that I am.
Of course, of course. And I'll just say this, when you win the title on Sunday, who is the first person you want to face when it comes to defending it?
Oh, I haven't even thought that far. Whoever steps up to the plate, like, I don't care. Give me anyone. Let's go.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I like that. But recently, the WWE had its draft, and a few NXT stars were called up to either Raw or SmackDown, specifically Indi Hartwell, who was the previous NXT Women's Champion. Do you see yourself in a position where you could be called up to the main roster a year from now if you continue to have this success?
100%. I want to be called up with hype. I want to be called up, with a title reign under my belt. But I definitely see myself within a year and a half, ready for the big stage, Raw and SmackDown.
So, do you prefer either Raw or SmackDown, or does it matter?
It doesn't matter to me, whichever one.
Of course, absolutely. You mentioned previously, you mentioned Charlotte Flair and how you looked up to her, watching her when you were growing up, and you mentioned her and Bianca Belair as your two dream matches. But which one presents a bigger challenge?
Charlotte Flair, for
Yeah,
sure. I definitely feel like too, seeing her and I feel like we have, similar styles. She's kind of like the reason why I got into wrestling in general. I think it would be a really cool full circle moment and a really huge challenge for my career.
have you had a chance to talk to Charlotte?
No, I have not. I would love to sit down and talk to her.
And have you talked to any current WWE superstars that are on the main roster? Have they given you any advice at all?
Yeah, Natty Neidhart actually came in
Hmm.
a couple months ago and she had a training session with a bunch of the girls and she helped me a lot. She is someone I look up to and she's a big inspiration to me and she is so kind. She did not have to come in and do that. And also Bailey.
Mm,
Bailey has given me some advice that I really have taken into account and she's always been super sweet to me and yeah, Bailey and Natty for sure.
of course. And recently, or when it comes to the top WWE superstars, specifically the WWE legends, The Rock, um, Batista, and even John Cena, they made the transition from uh, competing on the mat to being in film, specifically Marvel and DC films. Is there a Marvel or DC character you would like to play in a movie?
I would love to become my own Marvel or
Mm,
superhero and call it the Buff Barbie.
nice. I
Yeah.
like that. Are there any, do you prefer Marvel movies or DC movies?
Probably Marvel movies.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely. Do you have a favorite Marvel movie?
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't give you one.
Oh no, no, I totally understand. There's a lot of Marvel movies out there, but one last question for me before I let you go is, obviously, you've done so well in NXT, and hopefully you can win on Sunday at NXT Battleground. But do you have specific goals for your career as you move forward?
Yeah, I think the short-term goal is to win the NXT Women's Championship this Sunday and have a long, dominant reign. And the ultimate goal is to main event WrestleMania one day, and win the Raw or SmackDown Women's Championship.
Absolutely. I like those goals. Well, Tiffany, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. Good luck to you at NXT Battleground and continued success to you.